Hey, did you know Long's Products is a family-owned janitorial supply with mops, brooms, trash bags, and they even have food service disposables, carry-out plates, and to-goes? Check us out.
Good evening over there to the Hicks family. And I also want to say good evening to everyone. I'm Jack, and welcome to a deeply meaningful edition of the Let's Talk show here on Urbancast. Tonight, we're joined with the family of Shaun Hicks, a young man whose life was tragically lost while working at Hunt Plywood over in Grant Parish. He passed away on September the 3rd, 2024. This is not just a story about loss. It's a moment to lift up the family's voice, to honor Shaun's memory, and to remind ourselves of the power we hold when we come together as a community, not just to grieve, but to seek answers, healing, and change. We definitely invite everyone to be a part of this conversation. Make sure that if you're listening and following us out there, that you share this post. We may not open up for questions tonight, but if you have comments that you'd like to make, please make sure you make those comments known, and extend any and every bit of support that you can to the Hicks family to bring more awareness around Shaun's story. Before we begin, I want to go ahead and introduce the family. So we have two rooms with the family and myself. We have the Justice for Shaun Hicks room, and we have Ms. Lisa Hicks, Shaun's mom, up in the corner with me. We went tiny and we gave them the big real estate because it's the whole family's right there in the Justice for Shaun Hicks window there. So, Candy, if we can start off with you.
My name is Candy.
My name is Alex.
My name is Tiffany.
Mm-hmm. All right.
My name is Randall.
And my name is Michael.
And you're Michael.
Yes, sir.
All right. And Ms. Lisa.
I'm Lisa.
And you're Lisa, mom. Okay. So we have Alex, brother, Tiffany, fiance. We have Master Asher there with the Bible, and son and fiance, and we also have Mr. Randall there, dad, and we have Mike, brother. All right. We're going to go ahead and jump directly on into the questions that we have for you guys. Can y'all start off by telling us a little bit about who Shaun was, what made him special, and what were his passions and dreams in life?
Shaun was my youngest, and he was a good kid. Growing up, he had problems like all normal kids do, but Uh, he was full of life, full of energy, um, happy, loving, and he cared about other people. He would help anybody any way he could until he uh, met Tiffany, and it just changed his world up, turned his life totally around. Uh, all he cared about then, well, he cared about everybody, but his main thing was Tiffany. And then when the baby came along, that just added more icing on the cake. And he that's all he wanted to do was work and provide for his family and try to give them a good home and a good life. He was just all around a good. He was just a good guy. He was a good man. He was a good boy.
Any, anyone else want to add something in there?
Yeah, man, Shaun was complicated yet simple, if that makes sense. He didn't try to be popular. He didn't try to be somebody he wasn't. He was intent with who he was. He loved everybody. He treated everybody equal. Me and my little brother were very close growing up, side by side every day. Catching the bus together, getting off the bus together, fighting, doing everything brothers do. And like my father said, right before he passed away, man, he changed his life and he became my hero. So that's why this is so important to me to talk about him and his story, is because I believe no amount of money or work or product or whatever you're making is worth a life. And I just don't think it's right that everybody thinks it's just okay or the company thinks it's okay. And I just want our story heard because this has impacted us. I was across the country and I got a phone call that changed my life forever, and I'm still not right from it. So he was amazing, man. Amazing's the word for it. There you go. And a great father.
Right.
Great father. So
Um, I just want to say that Shaun was literally the best thing that I've ever happened to me. And um we had our ups and downs, just like every relationship. But the day I found out that he wasn't coming home, I didn't want to believe that. It literally tore me apart, and I'm so lost without him. He loved me very much, and he loved Asher. He would be so excited to come home from work every day to see me and Asher. And he walked out that morning, and I didn't get to see him. I didn't get to say I love you to him that day. And that was it. But he was a great father. He was a great person. He had a good heart. He liked to help everybody. He was a hard worker for sure.
wanna go?
I'm Tiffany's aunt, and every Sunday that Shaun was off, they were at church. the day that the baby was dedicated was Shaun had the biggest smile, but that day was the biggest smile that I'll never forget. Shaun was working hard because he wanted to get a house and a new truck like he used to have that he wrecked, and that was his goals. I miss him. I love him. He'll always be my nephew.
Shaun, I actually got him his first job. I worked on elevators, still to this day, and got his first job as soon as he got out of high school. And I can say the boy was a really hard worker. He did anything that completed the task that needed to be done. Um, and he was just a provider. He was a helper, and he was a loving person. Um, there's times that I call him, I was like, hey, I need some help, either at home or just anywhere. And he was there, and that's who he was. So just being a really, great person and just just helping was the just made Shaun. And so
Miss Lisa.
Okay. My son, he came in this world fighting for his life. No, he was born with one kidney. He survived it. He growed up so fast. They went to school. And then he had that four-wheel wreck. We thought we lost him, going to lose him again, but he made it through that. But he has a heart, a good heart. He helped anybody in this world if he's able to do it. And like I said, he is a hard worker.
Mm-hmm.
That boy would work. He has his ups and downs, but they're us kids in life. But he's a great child and he's a great dad. And when he met Tiffany, God, that was his world. And that baby was his world. But then I get a call, he's gone, and that really hurts. And I cry. I still cry every night.
Okay. Let me and if we get to any point in the interview that you guys, if it's something that you don't want to answer or anything like that, we'll just move on. And because we are here for you guys, and it's all about you tonight. Um, but take us back to the day. I know, Mike, you told us how you found out. Mr. Randall, how did you find out?
Actually, my granddaughter was the first to find out, and she tried to notify my daughter, which that lived just around the road from where I lived at. And my daughter called me and told me that there had been an accident at Hunt Plywood Mill, and Shaun was involved in the accident. And my ex-wife showed up at the house to pick me up, and we left the house on our way to Hunt Plywood Mill. And I was about halfway there when I got a phone call from the man with human resources, Mr. Joe Sharp. It told me that there had been an accident, and I told him I was on my way there. And I asked him, I said, how? I said, how is Shaun? And that's when he informed me that my son had passed away. And that's how I found out.
So so it was a phone call was the first time officially a family member had
Yes,
received it was via the phone call. Um,
yes, sir. Joe Black Sharp called me personally. I asked him how that was on his emergency contact,
mhm,
and he told me how to check on him. He's been injured. I said, injured? What do you mean, how injured? Um, I haven't got down there yet. It took him 2 hours. 2 hours to call me back to let me know he passed away. And well, not near 2 hours. It just happened so fast that. But I know I called my husband then to let him know to see if he found out. Then and I can't remember who called Tiffany. If I was the one called Tiffany or if he was the one called Tiffany. So, and I was down here as soon as I found dead. That's when I made my trip down there.
yes, ma'am.
Tiffany hadn't heard anything about it. I was the one that notified Tiffany of my son's passing.
Hmm. Okay.
When the sister was notified by the employees, it was that he was injured. So we were on the phone calling all of the hospitals around to see where he was because we didn't know.
So like the day when it happened, I think it was like after 3 maybe that day. I can't remember the time. I
Hmm.
heard a banging on my door and I didn't know who it could have been. And his dad came up to my door with his dog and said that Shaun was dead. That's how I got told about it.
Since the official did you guys ever get anything in writing officially from the company?
From the company, no, nothing in writing officially. No.
Hmm.
Uh, the only thing we got, we sat down with Mr. Joe Sharp at an interview, um, and spoke with him in person, um, and he was more of telling us what happened there, but that wasn't all that was to the story. A lot of things was hid from us.
Hmm.
Uh, my understanding from hearsay, not personally, but I heard basically through the grapevine that the employees that was working for Hunt that day was told not to speak to anyone about what happened there at that meal or what took place to that meal. So therefore, nobody was really talking. There's only been one or two that has come forwards, not speaking to me directly, but uh, a couple of my daughter. Uh, uh, there has been one or two spoken with her about it and told her, that what. And I did speak to one boy that worked there, but he worked on the outside of the mill. He was not in there when Shaun fell, so he didn't see what happened. But he said the mill shut down, and he ran a forklift, and he got off the forklift to go in there, and they stopped him at the front door. So that's the only thing he knew about what took place inside the mill.
Okay. Uh, Go ahead,
Yeah,
Mike.
man. We're pretty clueless. Not gonna lie, a lot of things have been kept from us. A lot of things have been twisted. A lot of questions that we've asked have been answered that the answers don't make sense. You know, my brother's life was lost over something that could have been prevented with a little switch. Um, that's what this all boils down to. You know, we're not trying to shut down a company. We're not trying to make hundreds of people lose their jobs. We just want to make sure them 100 people go home. You know, that's all we care about because this is ridiculous. And for not to have, it's been 7 months since my brother died, and we're still waiting on a report from OSHA. The only thing that we've ever got is his birth certificate, and his reason of death has nothing on it.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it really messes with your heart when your brother's death certificate don't even show how he dies. So, when you want to talk about writing and reports and stuff like that, I think that's the worst thing, that they can't even tell the family why a father, a brother, a son didn't come home.
So basically, all of the information, basically what you guys have been able to piece together is been information, a little bit here and a little bit there, and in and your minds are wandering left and right.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Uh, let me say this. Uh, can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, sir. I can.
Let me say this, and for the record,
Hmm.
that Sean's death was due to negligence. I don't care how you spell it or how you lay it out or whatever. It was due to pure negligence on safety reasons. Sean, it was maintenance day. That mill was shut down for maintenance. And where Sean was working at had finished up their work for the day. He was on his way home. They announced over the speakers that they needed volunteers to come to the other side to help out, that they were short on manpower. Sean wanted to get a couple more hours in, so he volunteered to go over there and help out. When he got over there, that machine, that glue machine, was already shut down. But they started that machine back up to see if that machine was going to run okay. Sean was told by one of the supervisors to go up on that catwalk, which is about 10 or 15 feet in the air. I've been in that mill. Uh, he was told to go up there to change out a sprayer or to adjust a sprayer or something that sprays the glue.
Yep.
There was no guardrail. He was standing in an open hole. There was no guardrail. There was no safety harness provided. And mysteriously, there happened to be no camera on that spot where Sean was at. There's cameras all over that mill, but mysteriously, there was no cameras. Um, when I spoke with Mr. Joe Sharp, I asked Joe Sharp at the interview that machine was that machine on when Sean he didn't when Sean was sent up there to change that nozzle. He did not deny it. He said that they had to shut that thing down every 24 hours to change out the sprayers, and they did not shut the machine down to do that. But then when he spoke with Tiffany on, he told Tiffany that that machine was not running after he had told he did not like I say, did not deny it when I asked him. And I got word that the machine was turned back on to see if it was going to perform right. And then that's when they sent Shaun up there to change out that nozzle while that machine was running.
You guys have said you were not provided any information from OSHA. Is that
No, sir. I have not heard nothing from OSHA. Every time inquired about it, I was told that OSHA was still hadn't completed their investigation. We was told that it would take anywhere from 4 to 6 months for OSHA to complete it, but it's been 7 months, and I still haven't heard that OSHA has ever completed the investigation.
any other investigations, maybe by first responders, law enforcement, anything like that that you guys have received?
No, sir, none at all.
I think the only other investigations they did, the company did their own personal investigation. The parish did their own investigation. We was told at the interview when Joe met with the family that they had wrapped up their investigations, and we really wasn't told the outcome of that, other than it was a work-related accident. But as far as OSHA, no, sir, we haven't heard anything.
I just got the death certificates. That's it.
Miss Lisa, I'm sorry. Did
That's
you
the
have?
only thing we gotten was his death certificate. That's the only thing we received.
Okay,
But from OSHA, we have it.
nothing. No other reports. Um, other than that meeting that you guys had with one of the officials over at Hunt, have there been any other um, communications with HR?
No, that's the only meeting we had. We were supposed to meet the guy over Joe Sharp, but he couldn't come. So that's the reason why Joe Sharp came.
Mhm.
Well, I have doing the phone calls for his funeral arrangements and his headstone that they did pay for it. I mean, they did pay for the funeral. They did pay for the headstone, but it was a fighting battle on that. If it wasn't for my ex sending me a text stating that you can't, I mean, just had some words with him about it, and they finally decided to pay for the tombstone that we wanted. But other than that, that's been it. But ever since after that, I haven't heard nothing else from them.
You guys mentioned that employees were told not to discuss the incident. How did you learn that and how did y'all learn that piece of information, and how does that concern you, that the employer potentially told the employees not to say anything to you?
Well, personally, it was pretty much put in our face. I'm gonna keep people anonymous. But during my brother's wake, it was pretty big. A lot of people came, and a lot of people who knew him and worked with him.
Mm-hmm.
And they can have fun picking and choosing out of who they want, but there was multiple people at that awake that got very quiet when the bigwigs walked in.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't talk to us. They wouldn't come near us. They shied away from us. As soon as the bigwigs left my brother's wake, they came to us and told us. They apologized. I got a lot of hugs. I got a lot of tears from men that were sorry that they had to treat me a certain way for the first 30 minutes. And it was all upon them scared to lose their jobs. So it was verbally told to me more than a handful of times. It's just I have more respect for these men to put them out there like that.
Right. Mike, that's fully understandable, man.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Recently, Before we move on, did anybody else have anything else to say? Okay. Recently, just last week, we had another young man, Britt Gillum, who tragically lost his life at that same plant. How did you guys take that when you heard it, given this incident that happened with which your loved one happened, just a short time ago, and to hear that again?
It made me sick to my stomach to know that another family had to go through what Shaun did, but the way they died were completely different. And to me, when two young men, one in September, one in April, they had one in January they're not discussing. The young lady is dealing with that. They need change. They didn't even notify the Britt's family.
Right.
I do have one other thing I'd like to say.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Mr. Randall.
My condolences goes out to the family
Mm-hmm.
that have lost their loved ones. We know we're going through the same hurt and grief that they are. It's a hurt that I will never get over. I will never stop grieving. I'm not the same man I used to be, and I don't think I ever will be again. There's not a day goes by that I don't think about my son. There's not a day goes by I don't still cry, because I see him everywhere. And I just want to say to the families out there, I'm so sorry for their loss. And I just hope this would help other people out there to understand what we're going through and what they're going through, and something is done about that meal so another loved one don't lose his life, or a husband, a child, or whatever. That's pretty much all I have to say.
And you pretty much jumped into that last question that I had, and if anybody else who want to add into it, go for it.
Well, whenever I found about Britt, I actually found out about it the day it happened, once again from an anonymous person. And, it broke my heart for his family because, every night I still look at pictures of my little brother just to tell him good night. Every day I still talk to him. And then I don't know the best way to explain this is to say that I relived every moment that I lived when I heard about Shaun, when I heard about Britt. I didn't know him personally. I heard he was a great guy. But knowing the pain that his family is feeling right now is what brought me out to talk about this. Because that man should be with his kids. That man should be with his family. And I know that family's life just got turned upside down. And I just want to let that family know that if they ever want to reach out, if they ever want to talk, if they ever want support, love, anything, that this family has their back. Because when we went through it, we didn't have somebody there to help us. So we're doing all we can to help prevent it from ever happening again.
When I initially reached out, I reached out because I don't think that sending these young men to do these jobs, they're not on the front line of military out in war. They're not police officers. They're going to do a normal job. They should come home. They want to say that these two kids cut corners. They did not cut corners. I would like to know why, whenever they realized when Shaun fell into that machine, why nobody had the common sense to shut off the power so he wouldn't run through that conveyor belt and it do what it did to his body. That's what I would like to know. It's not hard. If something's not working, shut down the power. If you can hide a camera and what the camera showed, you got common sense to turn off a machine when a man's down.
I'd like to first say to the Britt family that this is our condolence, and and we pray that you get the as much or more justice than we were receiving. Um, and we're going to do anything in our power on our end to speak out for all these young men, even the ones that are going to work that's on edge. You shouldn't have to go to work on edge. You should be able to go there and do a job comfortably. These young men or even older men are actually, they're relying on their supervisors to keep them safe, and that's part of like doing training and being notified about certain situations that they're doing. If they're doing something that they're supposed to be doing, they should be told that. There's not even amount of money in this world um, that that could replace these guys' lives. Um, the thing is, I know how companies are. They're all about production and trying to move things fast. But once again, you can't replace somebody's life. It's important to go through the safety training and make sure that all your guys walk in and walk out. And that's the most important thing. And that's what I respect as from a company owner to other company owners. So
My condolences to the family too. I know how it feels. It really hurts. I got 3 sons, and one's gone out of this life because that machine that should have been off. And I know how it hurts because I feel like they just pulled your heart out, and you don't have a heart no more because it's gone when you lose a child. And I feel for y'all really deeply. I'm here. Like I just reached out to my son to get help. They could tell you how y'all can get help to me. We're with y'all all the way.
And so no, no support from like grief counseling or anything like that has been offered to the family or anything of that nature.
No, sir.
Let me add, Tiffany got a call from Joe Sharp in December about Shaun's death certificate. And at that time, he gave her some papers on grief counseling. And that was in December.
In December.
Okay.
And I also send my condolences out to the Gillen family. And I appreciate everybody whose family members have reached out to me that work at Hunt with their stories. Thank you. They need to be shut down until they can operate a safe facility for these men to go home for their families and their children. No parent should ever have to bury a child. None.
Before we get out of here, is it anything that any of the family would like to say this evening before we get out? Before we.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
If you could do what you can do to try to request a OSHA report, because my cousin is in prison. OSHA gave a safety course there in October or November, and they named Shaun Hicks, Hunt Plywood, Pollock, Louisiana, and I don't remember if it was 7 violations they found or 10 that cost his life. If you can find that report, they gave it at the prison. If they gave it at the prison and mentioned his name, they got it.
Oh.
Yes, like that.
And I also want to say it's not a secret. These men are coming home telling their family they're scared. They're scared of work conditions. I have men that I grew up with. They're not right today because they are feeling forced to go to an unsafe work environment just to provide for their family. And being a Grant Parish boy and growing up where I come from, you know, it's kind of sad to say that was the one thing that was promised to us. If we messed up, if we did whatever, this and that, you could always get a job at Hunt's and make a pretty good living. Now these men are scared to go to a place that they felt like they could always make a living, and they're losing their lives. So that's all I got to say. If anybody's upset at me for saying this needs to be done, I apologize, but other jobs, you can get other jobs. You can't get another little brother. I mean, look at my parents. I'm not getting another little brother. So at the end of the day, something needs to be done to make sure it's safe. That's all I care about, safety. My brother has an elevator company. Me and my little brother, we learn from him safety. We learn from our father. And I don't work in a plant, and I know these rules. You were taught these rules from the beginning of working. You know, like my father said, and he may have misworded it wrong, but Joe Sharp did tell us that day. I was in that room that day. He told us that this machine don't ever get cut off because it's a normal function of the day for this tip to be changed out, this and that.
That's right.
And for that to be said, and then the story change, why? Like, what is there to cover up? Why are you doing this? Like, talk to the family. Let us know something, you know? Or like my father said, 4 minutes before they cut the machine back on, why didn't they go in and change it out, make sure everything's pretty, then turn the machine on? You know, my brother's life was taken behind that. So I just don't want anything else to happen, you know, and I got I'm speechless over what happened to Britt right now. I'm still trying to comprehend it. So like I said, once I'm able to speak more and talk to the family, I want to, and I want to let them know how sorry I am. So.
And I'll add that my husband served 7 tours overseas, and he always came home. And I think that's more dangerous than what these young guys are doing at Hunt Plywood. When you're getting shot and IEDs and everything blown up, whenever your convoy gets blown up and you have body parts of your buddy in your mouth. Mine came home. He should have came home. Tiffany does have something to say.
So, like, whenever I was reading his death certificate, it was hard to read it because now I can't sleep at night hardly, and pretty much the death certificate said that he got sucked in the machine 3 feet and folded his body in half. and he was screaming and crying for help. And nobody was able to save him. And now I have to deal with this for the rest of my life without him ever coming back. And then when Asher, his son, gets older, I'm gonna have to explain to him about what happened to his father, and that's gonna be very, very hard. But I do miss him every day. Um, I ask God to send me signs to. I'll ask God and I'll ask Shaun to please send me a sign that you're watching over me and Asher, and to please keep us safe, because living life without my best friend is the hardest thing that I've ever had to go through, and I don't wish this on anybody else. And I just Hunt needs to be done, and I really wish this would have never happened to him, because he didn't deserve to go through any of this. He had his whole life ahead of him. We had so many plans, and now I can't look forward to any of that anymore.
Miss Lisa, did you have something that you needed to say, ma'am?
I like to pitch in something.
I so much. We all miss him. He didn't deserve it. Yes, if you write on the death certificate what it said. I hated it when it said that. I was hoping I was reading it wrong, but I know I wasn't. But yeah, he had a whole lot ahead of him with his new family, with his family, his child. The prison asked the girl to get married. They was already engaged, so I think he was going to set that date for forever. But he thought that was going to happen Christmas. Well, he didn't make it.
Yes, ma'am. Before did somebody else have something else to say, or was?
Yeah, it's me.
Okay, go ahead, Al.
One thing that I feel that's very concerning is, as according to everyone, in the family, none of the owners or like CEOs has came out and spoke to the family about the incident or their condolences on their end. Joe Sharp was sent in to be the middleman between um, the company and the family. So to me, that's very concerning. Of what kind of people or people's they are. Is I feel like as a big company, if someone loses a life, we do expect like even the owners to come out and even speak to us.
Such a small thing. Tonight's conversation has been one of love, pain, courage, and unbreakable bond of family. We are truly grateful to Shaun's loved ones and for joining us tonight, for appearing, opening up their hearts to all of us. To the Hicks family, thank you, each and every one of you guys, for your strength, your willingness to share, your story, and allow others to reflect and stand with you and work toward a safer and more compassionate world and community. To our viewers out there, thank you for being a part of this moment. We listen. When we listen, we share. And when we hold each other up, we can become stronger as a community. I definitely want to say a special thank you to Sattler's Towing, Long's Products, and Legendary Kung Fu and Tai Chi for supporting this platform and for allowing us to keep these conversations going. As we close, we ask everyone to carry this story with you. Let it move you to speak up, to support families like Shaun's and Britt's. And this weekend, in closing, we always want to tell people it begins when you start executing your voice. And this weekend, we have a statewide vote. So if you have something on the ballot out there, go out and vote. But it starts with us one person at a time, speaking up for what's right and what's wrong. Again, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for caring, and thank you guys for standing together. We're going to go ahead and end this stream. Family, if y'all can just hang on in there 1 second, we'll be right back.
Hey, did you know Long's Products is a family-owned janitorial supply with mops, brooms, trash bags, and they even have food service disposables, carry-out plates, and to-goes? Check us out.